time to rank the top 100 players in the NBA. How many Hornets deserve to be on the list? We'll tell you today. Locked On Hornets.
You are Locked On Hornets, your daily Charlotte Hornets podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
In a minute, cuz we live.
Thanks for making us your first listen. We're free and available anywhere you get your pods. That includes YouTube. There's Doug Branson. I see it now. Everyhornetsboxscore.com. Go check out the Substack. Evan Hale with us behind the scenes, producing every single episode. Check his work out on everyhornetsboxscore.com. And I'm Walker Mail. Listen to me, WFNZ, every weekday from 12 to 3 p.m. Sports Radio, 92.7 FM. Rank Radio. We're not out of the woods quite yet, right? August, couple more weeks, still doing 3 days per week. And I would say, I guess, mid-September? We got about a month left of this schedule here, Doug. Is it time to wrap up silly season and then continue who wore it best, even though we're going to promise the people will finish who wore it best?
I don't know. It's a tight timeline. You asked about it pre-show. I said, listen, the Hornets just hired another assistant coach. I mean, there's news to get to. People are out here misspelling Coby White's name in the same way that we misspelled it, Coby White. So, I mean, there's just too much to get to. Plus, honestly, you can hear it right now. I don't know if my voice has it. I don't know if I have it in me to do who wore it best, honestly.
Do you need to get the graphic ready to go? I know it was reserved for me once upon a time, but hey, man, come on. Hey, that's some dirty work.
Come on, throat coat.
That's some dirty work out of you. All right, it's Rank Radio time. We love it around here. Locked On NBA Top 100 time. So this is when we get the email from the higher-ups saying rank all the best players on your team. And the way this works is that all you need to do is rank your own players on your own team, add them to the submission sheet where everybody is ranking the best players on their team all throughout the Locked On Podcast Network, and you only have 7 slots. If you have a great roster, you have up to 7 slots to use. If your roster is heading for the lottery, you can only add the players you feel should be considered. So we get a little bit of leeway here on who we think should be considered. And I will say, the Ringer Top 100 came out. They had 5 guys that were featured in the Top 100. That was with LaMelo on the roster. I would think Naz should be in the Top 100. So it looks like we have 5 here, Doug, but we can talk this out, man. How are you feeling? It feels like we have depth. We got rid of the best player in LaMelo. He goes to Minnesota. We did get at least somebody worthy of a Top 100 spot in Naz Reid. Grayson Allen, Royce O'Neal, probably not top 100 guys. Are you feeling 5 that we're going to have to submit?
It's a possibility. I mean, there's a possibility the Hornets could have 5 players in the top 100 and not have a single one of them be in the top 50. I mean, right now you've got Kon Knueppel at 47, Brandon Miller at 50, Coby at 92, Moussa at 96.
This is Ringer Top 100.
This is Ringer Top 100. Yeah, we haven't made our selections yet. I don't know if we want to reveal them right now. I think we got to tease that out.
Yeah.
And then do you have Naz in front of you? Where was Naz ranked?
I do not have Naz in front of me because I was only cared about the Hornets at first.
Naz was 77. So yeah, I mean, this is a team that has invested in depth. This is not a superstar powered team. Now, the Hornets, and we'll get to this in a bit, they're certainly investing in Coby White as if they want him to, juice that ranking a little bit higher and maybe crawl into that top 50. Also a big question around Naz Reid. Like, he's at 77, and I felt like prominent role in that 6-man role with Minnesota. And so there's a question coming here. Yes, he's going to be in the starting lineup, but how many shots is he going to get? What's his offensive role going to be? Like, how will he be viewed with Charlotte's lineup versus a lineup in Minnesota that was guaranteed to be a factor in the playoffs? All of that yet to be seen, but major questions there.
Yeah, nice fight out of you. I do think that the Hornets got a lot of help. I think they got some national recognition, even from that same list that you're referencing, right? Ringer Top 100, to have 5 guys referenced in that list is pretty impressive, right? LaMelo, of course, was going to be recognized. Kon Knueppel, Brandon Miller, you could have left them off, but it would be not egregious. It would have been a mistake. So you probably banked on 3 being included. Coby and Moussa might have been a surprise for people. Moussa, he's beloved by all, of course might be, of course, by local, Hornets fans, but even nationally, he's beloved. So that's your 5. Coby and Moussa were in the bottom 10 of this list. And then you mentioned some of the guys that were ranked the highest. Yeah, welcome Naz Reid to the party at 77. What was LaMelo last year, Doug? Was he like a top
33.
30? Okay, so
33.
He was almost top 30. Yeah, it reminds me a lot of the Atlanta Hawks days where Jeff Peterson, Charles Lee, they both had previous stops. It's really where they launched their career with Coach Lee being a Bud disciple. They had the 5 All-Stars, and I don't believe any All-NBA players. If there was an All-NBA guy, it was probably Al Horford at that time. But all the starters were All-Stars. Kyle Korver, Jeff Teague, Al Horford, Paul Millsap, and God, was DeMar Carroll in that? So maybe they just had the 4. But either way, their strength was in their depth. And so I don't think that they're going to have 4 All-Stars. I will say, it has been pitched to me a couple of times following the LaMelo Ball trade when I would hop on some of these overarching pods, right? Yahoo Sports Daily. You should go check it out. They're quite good over there. Also, Basketball Breakdown. I had it pitched to me a couple times that Naz could mess around and flirt with an all-star spot in the East, given a bigger role. People think about his ability that highly. I don't think it's crazy to say Coby White with an increased role if you extrapolate the stats that he was able to provide last year in a 6-man role, especially with some of the minutes restrictions and the back-to-backs that he wasn't playing at first with the injury. If he's fully healthy and you stretch out what he was able to do over a longer course of time, he's going to be mentioned as hey, should we take a look at him for an all-star appearance? Brandon Miller, Kon Knueppel, here we were talking last year how those guys could flirt with an all-star spot. Yeah, man, that's 4 guys. Moussa, I love you. You're not going to make it. Grayson Allen, Royce O'Neal, they're going to be big-time players, but they're not going to make it. So the 4 guys, you guys are shocked by this. I got to keep it real with Moussa a little bit. I'll vote him in the all-star game. I just don't think it's going to happen.
I'm smelling some reverse psychology. I mean, he's in the top 100 right now. For a ringer. I mean, I think that, and this all has to get voted on by other Locked On folks. I think there are enough Locked On folks who have experienced Moussa Diabate via him just destroying their team on the offensive boards and being a menace. And he's talked about enough in some of the niche NBA circles that I think if he comes in with the same effort, holds on to his starting spot, that he could flirt with top 100 at least early in the season. But how much does Steinbach factor into all of that? How well does he play? How much pressure does he put on the Hornets in terms of signing Moussa to a bigger deal? I mean, that's a serious question. The Hornets are an interesting team in that you have Coby White in a new role. You'll have Naz Reid, new team, new role. You will have Kon Knueppel, Brandon Miller, both in they're obviously the franchise cornerstones, but where do they factor in terms of how many shots they get? There's so much to be decided that I think, we're just going to have to throw 5 or 6 guys in the pot without really knowing how everything is going to shake out ultimately.
Yeah, and clearly the strength is in the depth. That's the theme of the conversation. And I do want to go back to what Charles Lee had to say. I forget what game it was. Shout out to actual Hornets Reddit, not Hornets Reddit on Twitter, who we've given a million shout outs to, but actual Hornets Reddit. Somebody picked up my question to Charles Lee a long time ago about depth and asking about its importance now compared to yesteryear in the association. And Charles said, I think we're seeing a little bit more importance with depth. And the thing that I put my finger on why is that, number one, the pace of the game is going up. The amount of possessions, how many teams are playing fast, physicality is going up. It's great to keep some fresh bodies out there. If you want to get stops, want to be able to play fast, it's not as easy now to kind of coast or pace yourself through a game or through a quarter. You need maximum effort from everyone. Then the other part I would add is with sophisticated offenses, there are games that you might need some guys that could switch it up a little bit more, or you need some guys that can drop coverage a little bit more. So you got to get really creative, I think, with some of your schemes. It helps when you have some versatile players coming off of your bench. I will say LaMelo is better than Coby White. Nobody would refute that. LaMelo is also very different from Coby White.
Yeah. No one would refute that.
This comment reminds me of a comment I heard from, I think it was Zach Lowe, mentioning like the Sam Presti idea, which we've discussed the similarities between OKC and Charlotte and their team building practices, and that even if you do something crazy well, which is what Charlotte did last year, you still need something else to kind of mix it up a little bit, because coaches are too good and they start to pick up on it, and they're working on how to stop you in the offseason. So now you need a curveball to where they swing for the fastball and they look silly. Coby is that. Coby is very different than LaMelo in strong, absorb contact, get to the paint, get to the foul line, finish and one, high percentage there. Has enough of the kick out to his game that LaMelo has, even if he's not a passing savant. You wouldn't describe him as that. You are a little different. You have a ball handler that does things a little differently. I think that matters to what Charles Lee just spoke about here with their depth and what I heard on the Low Pod the other day. Like that stuff makes me think that was in their brain when making this decision, this monster decision.
Yeah, I mean, look back at the 15-16 team, the last team to make the playoffs. They had a lot of different avenues to win basketball games. You had a Big Al release valve. You had Kemba Walker doing Kemba Walker things. You had Jeremy Lin off the bench that could take over a game. You just had so many little things that could happen. And then later on in the season, Courtney Lee with shot making and effort plays. Like it was, there were just a lot of different pieces doing different things, and they all could contribute on a nightly basis. And we got a little bit of that last season, and I think they could get even more next season.
More Rank Radio. That needs to come back, man. Honestly, one of the more consistent.
I owed you one. I owed you like 15 in that segment.
One of the more consistent fights through takes that I've seen from you, Doug. Like the whole time, I can hear it, but you're still delivering the goods. I appreciate it.
It's funny. Earlier in the week before I got sick, I was listening to Hoop Collective podcast, and I heard it in Brian Windhorst's voice, and I knew it was coming for me. Windhorst is like a canary in the coal mine for me. Like he's like a windometer. I just know when I hear the raspiness in his voice, I'm like, here it comes.
Are your phlegm schedules synced up with one another?
Yeah, we're phlegm.
That's what's happening. Okay. Let me clear my throat. More Rank Radio coming up next on the Locked On Hornets podcast.
Bees everywhere!
All right, we're getting a little bit of love, I think, with some of the players in the top 100 players list. But what about the GM? What about the front office? Stick around, figure out just how high they are on the best front office ranking list. A team that has the over-under set at 39.5, still quite respected. We'll talk about it.
The problem of finding clothes that you can live in all day, be comfortable, and do whatever you need to do, whether it's just chilling, going to meetings, playing golf, being on the move, that problem has been solved by Cozy Earth. The everyday polo is the answer. It's lightweight, built to move with you, just easy to wear everywhere. I've got it on right now, and it's fabulous. Plus, the Cozy Earth Essential Socks, they're exactly what the name suggests. Soft, supportive, comfortable enough that you stop thinking about them halfway through the day. Plus, Cozy Earth backs everything with a 10-year warranty and hassle-free returns. So if something isn't quite right, you're covered. That makes trying them for yourself an easy decision. I've got the Cozy Earth Everyday Polo in blue and in black. Check them out at CozyEarth.com. Use the code LOCKEDON for 20% off. That's right, Locked On for an exclusive 20% off. And if you see a post-purchase survey, please mention you heard about it right here, CozyEarth.com.
We love Rank Radio. We're going right back to it. The tease was really alluding to what I think the Twitter sentiment has been behind this ranking, Doug, because I've seen some people talk about the Hornets' 9th place finish in the NBA front office rankings, according to CBS Sports. Sam Quinn is the one that wrote the article. I've seen some of the sentiment behind it being that the Hornets traded the best player, had their over-under lowered compared to what it would have been with LaMelo on the roster, yet people still love everything that they did this offseason, in my opinion, getting better with the trade that they had with Phoenix, welcoming not only a pick, but Grayson Allen and Royce O'Neal. Everything they've done, they got better outside of the whole LaMelo trade, sending him to Minnesota. And yet, the front office is ranked 9th. And here's what Sam Quinn writes. Most owners and general managers experiencing a 40-24 stretch after years of losing would cling to it for dear life. The Hornets understood it was probably fool's gold. So they're getting credit for abandoning any potential. It doesn't matter. Oh, you might be real, but we applaud you for saying you probably aren't right, and then you're moving off of it. Some more analysis here in that the LaMelo Ball trade is one of the boldest things a relatively inexperienced front office has ever done. Jeff Peterson has done an incredible job of accumulating assets. Charlotte currently has arguably the most impressive collection of external draft picks in all of basketball, and those are some other reasons as to why Charlotte is ranked number 9. How do you feel about the placement?
I think it's right on. I think this is a top 10 front office. I don't question that. I wouldn't put them top 5 because they haven't won anything. I think if you look at the top 5 front offices, most of them, I mean, OKC's won, Knicks, and then Celtics, Spurs.
Celtics is interesting after the Jaylen Brown trade, but they've had clearly a lot of success. Last year was a real surprise.
The only one is the Jazz. I mean, the Jazz at 5. I don't know. I need to take a
getting
rid of Kessler for what they got. I mean, that's taking advantage of the Lakers, something the Hornets tried to do and failed, unfortunately.
Well, and this is kind of in the same group, right? Like you aren't going all for it, but you are, trading Walker Kessler because you're just making a good value trade there. But you did sign Jaren Jackson Jr. You're going to put him alongside Lauri Markkanen. They're not going to be a walkover this season.
Yeah, and look, I look at this blurb that he writes, and he says the LaMelo Ball trade, one of the boldest things a relatively inexperienced front office has ever done. So, you can look at, they were ranked 12th in February, moving up to 9th. If this thing goes poorly and everybody's healthy and they win 30 games and Kon Knueppel doesn't look like he's in contention or anywhere close to contention for Sophomore of the Year award, and Brandon Miller still looks like the same Brandon Miller we've seen for many years, or, God help everybody, he gets hurt again, then, okay, I would say that's going to be a steep drop-off, okay? So that's what happens when you risk something, is that, you might see a little bit of a rise, but to stay there, some of those things that you bet on have to absolutely work out. And I think you're getting a little bit of a boost here because of the general sentiment around NBA circles about LaMelo Ball. I mean, they all, some of the tide turned last season, yes, but there was still a general undercurrent of LaMelo Ball is not a winning basketball player. If they had moved on from, I don't really have a great example, but just a player that everybody was like, no, that's a star player and he's well respected. I mean, this is not the example, but you could look at Jaylen Brown and kind of say the same thing about him as LaMelo Ball, where it's like Boston gets rid of Jaylen Brown and people weren't like, some people are like, oh my God, but people that didn't respect Jaylen Brown's stats versus his efficiency said, okay, I get it, but it's got to work out, because if that's a big bet, getting rid of a guy that was, an MVP contention, but if it works out, great.
Yeah, there are a bunch of teams that pulled off big moves in the top 10. Boston is one. The February ranking, so not the previous ranking, so to speak, from last year, but Sam Quinn has the previous ranking being in February of this past season. Boston was second, and then the Jaylen Brown trade brought him down to number 3. New York was 7th in February. You see how this all plays out. You win a championship, you move up in list like this to number 2. OKC, they're going to be number 1. They're probably going to be number 1 for a while, depending on a disaster scenario. Okay. Other big moves. Indiana made a big move. Didn't really go well for them. We found out just how punitive getting rid of a top 4 protected pick to the Clippers was going to hurt them, but we didn't know that at the time. Pacers actually don't go up or down. They were 6th in February. They're 6th now, despite the worst case scenario happening for them in the NBA draft. You look at a team like Minnesota, they're 1 spot behind Charlotte. Because of the national opinion on LaMelo, it's like, oh, man, he was awesome. Oh, my God, I'm going to love watching Anthony Edwards and LaMelo play alongside one another. Those ankles, though. And why are the Hornets getting rid of them? I don't know what to do with this. You're going all in on this, and the Hornets, they're going to have a good enough team, and they have all these assets. So there's a nice cushiony fall from grace if they are going to fall from grace. Minnesota's going to crash and burn. with this, right? If LaMelo doesn't work out, if he gets injured and they get rid of all these picks and you get rid of beloved Naz Reid, yeah, that's going to be a much harder crash.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Timberwolves betting on LaMelo is a way bigger bet than the Hornets betting on not having LaMelo. Because if it doesn't work out for Minnesota, I mean, kiss Anthony Edwards goodbye. Kiss the whole experiment goodbye. You've got it. I just think the whole thing comes apart. And what are you left with? With the Hornets, like, okay, they've got, as you mentioned several times on the show, lots of $20 million contracts. They've got a big old TPE, trade exception. Like, they have ways to maneuver if what they've currently constructed next season doesn't work out. Also, I would contend that you look at New York, that they're number 2 now. They were number 7 in February. I would be interested to see where they were the previous season and the season before that. I would suggest that it would probably be lower. I would guess that it would be lower. The Knicks stuck with things. They made the Mikal Bridges things, and while everyone was laughing at the number of picks they gave up for Mikal Bridges, they just and keeping Cat and not trading Cat away, they just stuck with it and they won a championship. So there is a little bit of like, hey, sometimes you stick with things and they work out.
Yeah, it goes back to when you talk about New York. Here they are as the biggest market team that exists in New York City, playing in MSG. It's the biggest market team that could possibly exist. And yet they operated like a small market team. We'll overpay for Jalen Brunson, who is not a superstar. This is going back then, right? He's not a superstar. We're going to, quote unquote, overpay to the tune of, what was it, $27 million a year? They got killed for that contract. We're going to trade for Karl Anthony Towns from another market as this like reclamation project. Hey, maybe it works over here. We'll overpay for Mikal Bridges because we haven't had much luck in stars coming to New York City anyway. Kevin Durant wanted to go to the other team in New York when he moved from big bad Golden State. They operated like a small market team, and they won as a big market team. And you got to give them credit, man. Not that anybody's denying them of that, but it really is impressive. If you look at every move that they've made to get where they are, which is at the top of the mountain, they deserve to be. You could make a case for number 1, but number 2 is just fine enough. I wonder, like, how many trades like that. That's where they made a million different decisions to make big bets, take big risks. LaMelo is the biggest bet / risk that the Hornets have taken, and it's a big-time deal. I'm not going to diminish the decision that Jeff Peterson made, but you're right. It's not as big of a bet as the one Minnesota is making on LaMelo working out.
No, they've got crazy flexibility to completely reconfigure this roster if they want to. They have so many picks. They have the contracts that are tradable. There's just so many ways that this can. I don't think that this roster is the roster that is ultimately going to win them a playoff series. I think it's the roster before the roster. It's exciting.
Yeah, it is. Coming up next on the Locked On Hornets podcast.
I wish I could show that excitement with my voice, but I'm scared.
Yeah, you ain't doing it today,
He's everywhere!
that ain't happening. I commend you for just doing a podcast today. A true warrior you are. We have a new coaching hire, and it's another Coby White related coaching hire. We'll get to that in just a moment on LOH. This episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Baseball fans, if you think you know who's hitting a homer today, FanDuel is giving you a free chance to call your shot with daily dingers. It's easy to play. Just make your free pick for who you think will hit a home run in their game. And if you're right, you'll receive a profit boost. You can use it on your next bet for a chance at extra winnings. Best of all, you can make a free pick every day throughout the MLB season. Daily Dingers. It's another fun way to stay engaged with every day's games, whether you're following your favorite team or keeping an eye on matchups across the league. Every game has someone capable of going deep. Now you get the chance to make your prediction before first pitch. So are you ready to play your game today? Join all the action at FanDuel.com. That's FanDuel.com to play Daily Dingers and make your free pick on who's hitting a homer. Play ball and swing for the fences on FanDuel, an official partner of Major League Baseball. More Locked On Hornets ahead. The Hornets have a new coach, Doug, a new assistant coach that they just hired a couple of days ago, according to Mike Scotto. Got to go to the Scotto Grotto. Yeah, baby, Scotto Grotto time. The Hornets are adding John Bryant as an assistant coach. Bryant previously worked with Coby White as an assistant on the Chicago Bulls staff. And it's not like they've made another hire because of having Coby, but there are two assistant coaches that have familiarity with their new starting point guard, right? Josh Longstaff, having worked with Coby before. When the Hornets acquired Coby at the deadline this past season, we've heard from Charles Lee and Jeff Peterson. We've heard from them a lot, man, on going after Coby, not only because of the skill set, but because of the type of guy that he is, because of the character that he has. And when they've mentioned that, they've talked about Longstaff's opinion on Coby White in Chicago. So now here they are, their new starting point guard. They're bringing in another coach that has that familiarity with their one. And it makes sense to me, not that they're making these hires solely because of who's on the roster, but to have two guys that are familiar with your primary ball handler. It makes sense that you want to have a couple of dudes that speak his language. So here they are adding John Bryant. They already have Longstaff on the staff, and it makes sense to me.
Oh, totally. We just got done talking about the New York Knicks, and when they acquired Jalen Brunson, you know who they quickly acquired after that, or maybe before that, Rick Brunson.
I think it was before,
they got his dad on the team, right? You know, maybe and sometimes you if you're going to invest in a player, you want to make sure that player feels comfortable, that player feels like they have all of the necessary tools to expand, but particularly when it's a player like Coby White, who you're not only investing in, but you're asking a lot of. You're not necessarily asking him to replace everything that LaMelo Ball did, but he's a starting point guard now. He has to replace a little bit of it. He's got to get his game closer to like Max Coby White when he was with the Chicago Bulls, when he was averaging 19, 5.5, close to 5.5 assists, something in that range. Like, he's going to have to improve both his playmaking ability while at the same time continuing to score efficiently. So if you're going to ask him to do that, why not bring in the guy that he's most comfortable with on his previous team? This makes complete sense. And while you may hear that and say, yeah, of course, that makes complete sense. Why are you talking about it? Well, it's the same reason why we just talked about the front office being top 10 in the NBA, because they keep just doing things that make sense. They go out and they trade and they take on more money to bring in a guy like Dennis Schroeder, who can be the adult in the room with the bench players and set the table for everything that's going to happen. Yes, and you don't wait until the last possible moment when Dennis Schroeder has already been traded, because the Cavs needed to do this trade in order to sign James Harden. Like, you don't wait until the last second. You take advantage of those opportunities. They are doing the things that make the most sense. And bringing John Bryant, while this won't be like huge news, this is very much sicko news. It is of a piece with everything else that they have done this offseason. And again, to me, signals, hey, we want everyone on this roster to improve. We want to win. We want to get to the playoffs.
He also has a player development background, having served as a player development coach the first 2 years of his tenure with Philadelphia, just at the very end of the process 76ers, then moved into 50-win territory with Brett Brown as that head coach. Went with Billy Donovan as soon as Donovan was named the head coach in Chicago, was in Chicago for 6 years as an assistant. So again, did grow quite a close relationship with Coby White. I will say this does seem like a pretty Kobe-related move. Not that it's the sole reason. I'm sure you're not going to hire a guy you don't like, but you have a guy that can speak his language as an important player, man. Really important player when you just traded your best one to Minnesota. This is the guy that's supposed to replace LaMelo and fill those shoes. A lot of eyeballs going to be on him. Every single stat, every single game, we're going to have to write a referendum on how successful the trade is because of the way Kobe's performing. Hey, man, bring me all the familiarity to make sure that guy is as comfortable as possible.
Yeah, a lot of expectations for Coby White, and it's exciting because it feels like, just in the little that we've heard from him this offseason, it feels like he embraces that like this is the opportunity that he's been looking for. And you could say that about a lot of guys. I think you could say that about Grayson Allen. Dennis Schroeder has already said, like, my role in Cleveland, not what I wanted. I think I've got an opportunity to have a better role in Charlotte. So, like, if all of those things line up, it can mean very special things for the Hornets. Yes, how often do all of those things line up? Okay. But at the same time, I think everything has been set up for Hornets success this offseason, and I can't wait for the ball to hit the floor.
Yeah.
And I hope that we can get who wore it best in before then.
And we won't. I've come. I say I'm at peace with it. I think I'm just at peace with not finishing it today. Last thing.
Get my throat ready to go.
Well, I got one more thing for you to hang in there on. I know you got to go, but also one thing that isn't working for Coby is when people call him Colby. Now, I would never do this, but it is something that he dislikes, and so I'll do it here for the first time in my life. Apparently, Coby White put on his Snapchat or Instagram story that he and Kon Knueppel, they were paired together at the latest Biltmore Golf Club tournament. It was I actually saw a lot of people out there. Kon Knueppel, they got his name right on the cart that they were going to use all tournament long, and there it is right under Kon. Colby, Colby, Coby White, and he has a couple of like frowny face emojis like, hey man, can't you get this right? I would never do that, but just letting everybody know, it's not Coby White, okay? It's Coby White. Just so you know.
I'll just say nothing pairs with a good Colby like a Knueppel.
Yeah, you're damn right. Can't wait to see that pairing out on the court. That will do it for Locked On Hornets today. Doug Branson, everyhornetsboxscore.com. Also go check out Evan Hale contributing to EHB as well. He produces every single episode. And I'm Walker Mail. Listen to me, WFNZ, every weekday from 12 to 3 p.m. Sports Radio 92.7 FM. Have a great rest of your day. We'll be back with you tomorrow.
See ya.